different, huh?
Yeah,
In case you're not ready.
that's right.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to episode 13 of the Robby Framework Show. So in this show, we talk about our robotics framework project that we've been working on for more than 2 years, almost three if we count lease time.
Yeah, almost
uh,
4 if you count lease time.
four, that's right. And so we give updates, weekly updates. So we come on the live stream every week, and we give updates as to where we stand with the project, any exciting news. So here we go. So Lee, I'll let you take it away.
Well, it was an interesting day, interesting week for our company. Um, a couple things going on. Well, the big one, we got a really interesting beta registration last night. Uh, can't say too much of the guys' details. I don't want to. I don't want to break confidentiality or anything like that. But we got a guy that's actually a robotic scientist. I think that's at least taking notice of the framework. We'll
Yeah.
we'll see if he comes back tomorrow and answers my email and rips it apart for us. But it was pretty interesting to hear from a guy that's really got a serious background in robotics. Uh, that at least is interested enough to register for the beta and want to look at it. So there you go, little baby steps. That was our little baby step for the week.
So this becomes which one number on the beta users that we have so far? It's a number four,
Well, it's
number
5
three.
for registrations.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 3 that look like they're might seriously do projects. Hopefully, this guy being one of them, but we'll find out.
Yeah.
He's so new, we can't really know. The other 2, less likely they're going to get around to doing projects.
All right.
But it's something. We gotta get some more. But I think it's like they told us, like Kyle from SVA was telling us the other day. It's you get 2, and then you get 4, and then you get 8, and it kind of does this doubling thing you hope for.
Yep.
We
And
had
I
someone.
think
Uh-huh.
we've been seeing, because the first one was probably the most difficult one, and then they sort of started trickling in.
Yeah, little bits here and there. So Julian's saying, "How are you, cracks?" Hello, Julian,
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for joining.
and us cracks are doing okay. Although I'm getting pretty old for crack.
All right. I just while you were giving the updates, I was setting things up on Instagram so they can see us as well. So
Great.
yeah, so that we should be live on there as well.
Well, we'll get this technology down one of these days. Oh,
Yeah,
greetings
yeah.
from Colombia. All right, someone else from Colombia.
It's Julian. It's the same person.
Well, isn't Bismarck from Colombia?
Um, from Brazil. I think
Oh, he's
Bismarck is
from
from Brazil.
Brazil. You're right. You're
Yeah,
right. That's
yeah.
right. Yeah. Okay. Well, South America is all the same to me. I guess. That's terrible. I don't mean that. I know they're very different.
Well, thank you for joining, Julian. Um, I know that it's been a while since we've been live. I don't know if you're joining from the Dev Live channel or you're on the Robby channel, but I don't know if we can tell from here.
We're all one big channel family
We're
now.
one channel exactly.
And I guess that's company news too, is we're kind of starting to blend the 2 channels.
Yeah, that's it. That's the other thing. So one thing that we decided to try was to do the live stream on both channels at the same time. Usually we just do it on the Robby channel, but we decided to this week do it on both. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So far, so good. Um, I don't know, Lee, if you want to get um, into the news or if you want to do your demo. I'm thinking that maybe we should do your demo
Okay.
if
Yeah.
you're ready. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm as ready as I'm going to be. Nothing too earth shaking today, anyway. Then it's really kind of a piece of company news too, I guess. Uh, we just a couple days ago put some sample code up on our download page, which is at ourrobotdreams.com/download. And you can download the install program for the Robby framework there. And now you can also download some sample code, a zip file with a sample code set up for kind of demoing and just playing with the Robby framework, kind of getting started with the Robby framework. Uh, can I share on this?
Yeah, there should be.
It's new technology here. The question is how?
It should be the third icon from the left, Lee.
Oh, there it is. The one that looks a lot like a share button.
That one. That's it.
Okay, well, this
Okay.
isn't doing the mirror thing like our the other software did that we
Yeah.
used to use that shall remain nameless.
So on this one, so I'm able to see the your browser tab. So I don't know if that's what you want to. I don't know if you want to
Oh
switch.
well, yeah, no, I'm gonna bring something else up here. Can you see me changing things around?
Yep, I see your desktop now.
Wow, okay, all right. So let's go take a quick look. I'll show what it looks like to download it. So this is the URL you go to. It's just our website with a /download.
And by the way, for those of you who are on Instagram, you can join the live stream using the link in my bio so you can see what we're talking about.
Yeah, you want the visual.
Yeah. And we
So
have someone
anyway,
else, Tiago
oh good.
Monteiro. Hey, thanks for joining.
Hi Thiago. Thanks for thanks for joining, like Francisco said. Okay, so you can see we've got this new choice here. It used to just be the installation program, and now we've got our sample MCP project and Arduino code, which I don't really need to download because I've already got it. But what you get when you download from there is this zip file here, Robby Framework sample code version 1.0.zip. And it has inside of it Visual Studio solution and some Arduino sketches, 2 Arduino sketches and an Arduino library, which is real simple. And the library, it's real simple to bring the library into your Arduino IDE. There's instructions in the IDE. Let's see, I can bring it up here real quick. Oh, not on this machine. I can't. I've got the old Arduino on here. But anyway, imagine, if you will, that you go in where it says you want to include a library in your sketch, and that will have instructions for bringing a library in from a zip file. So you'll bring this in, and then there's 2 sketches here. One of them is going to just pick up 6 pins off an Arduino. So you're essentially going to get 6 random integers from the Arduino, updating 6 times a second. And then the other one allows you to send a command into the Arduino and get a response back from it. So you'll have both those things going on at once. And it's really, the purpose of this is just to demonstrate what it takes to connect to an Arduino with Robby Framework, and then to actually test and see that you're getting responses back from it. And the project's a very simple little thing. I don't have it hooked up to the Arduinos right now. I didn't get a chance to do that before I logged on today, unfortunately.
So Lee, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Someone's asking, what is an Arduino sketch?
Ah, so a sketch is C++ program that you upload to the Arduino, and that's actually what causes the Arduino to run. I'm assuming there you know what an Arduino card is. If you don't, Arduino cards are little microcontroller cards, cards that have microcontrollers included in them that allow you to, well, use a microcontroller, which is like a microprocessor, except instead of passing data around, you're manipulating pins on the card. You're getting the values off of pins and applying values to pins and things like that, which is the kind of stuff you tend to do for robotics.
Okay.
So I can show an Arduino sketch here, even though I've got the ancient Arduino on this computer, because I've got that robotics card for our robotics arm that requires this version of Arduino to work. But I can still load sketches into it.
And Tiago is asking, what kind of language are we using, or what kind of language are you using?
So this project that we're looking at here is in C#. It's a C# WPF program. And that's when you're using the Robby framework, anytime you're using the Robby framework, at least right now, the program that you're going to write your control program in is C#, or the language you're going to write it in is C#, which for people, if you're here for your first time and don't know what the Robby framework is, it's a software framework made for building robotic control programs. That's programs that are going to sit on a robot and orchestrate everything that happens with all the devices that are on the robot, or any services that the robot connects to, or other robots that the robot might connect to, or anything that the robot wants to connect to. The Robby framework sits in the middle and orchestrates all of that stuff together. And you do that by writing a C# project like this one, and you create what we call an MCP program, which stands for Master Control Program. And this is the sample code that we have here for the Master Control Program class that is implemented by this sample project. So hopefully that answered the question.
Yep, he's saying, wow, that's awesome.
Oh, cool. Thank you. We think so too. We'd love for you to be a beta customer.
Yeah, by the way, if you want to find more information about it, you can find a link in the profile to the website, and you can learn more about the framework and the kind of things that you can do. We also have some videos on the YouTube channel, on the Robby YouTube channel, that shows you Antwerp, which is, I guess, the star of the show. Where pretty much that's the main reason why Robby framework was born. Right, Lee?
Yeah. I was starting to build Antwerp and frustrated because I couldn't find any software that worked how I wanted the software to work for it. So, being a programmer, I wrote my own. I rolled my own. So, just to get back to what a sketch is, this is a sketch I've got up right now. Real briefly, you have a section at the top generally where you're going to declare variables and constants that you're going to use throughout the sketch. You've got a setup function like right here, where you go through and initialize pins. You can see here I'm initializing a pin, and I initialize your serial port and some things like that. And then you have a loop, which that loop is really everything the Arduino card does is going to be within that loop. That loop is always going. It's constant. That's any microcontroller is really like this. You always have a loop that is where it does whatever it does.
Okay, and this sketch, this is written in C++, right?
Yeah, it's a kind of a limited C++, but it's C++. It's, it's with this language, I find it to be kind of a fine line between C++ and C. Because I don't typically use classes or do some of the things you would normally think of for C++, but you can.
Okay.
But really, the language you're going to be writing is largely C when you get in here. So hopefully that gives you some idea of what a sketch is about.
Yeah. And Tiago is sharing with us that he is an iOS developer, but he needed to learn C Sharp and Java when he went to college.
Ah,
So he's familiar with C Sharp.
well, you ought to get into robotics, Thiago, because we got a great way to do it with C sharp here. So to just look a little more at this code here, um, this is when you build a project around the Robby framework. The big thing you're going to be doing is creating a class that derives from this master control program base class. And that is what brings all of the functionality of the framework into your program and turns your program into an MCP. And the main part of that is this collection right here. There's this, which I gave it, I don't know why I gave it such a long, drawn out name, but I was in my long name phase at that point. So it's the MCP exposed from device message events. Exposed from device message events. So what it's talking about is events that come from devices attached to the robot and want to send those messages to the MCP, trigger an event on an object in this collection. And then within your MCP class, you subscribe to that event using these code structures right here. And then you have very simple little event handlers that actually do something with those messages as they come in. Like this one is where we have the range sensor simulating sketch that's putting up the 6 integers every 6 times a second. And this is receiving those. And basically it just passes them up to the main window, to the dialog, using an event that it exposes. So that's kind of the long and the short of the sample code, but I think this is nice. We actually had this requested by one of our beta customers. And he was saying, boy, this would be so much easier if I just had a sample and something I could look at and kind of start from to modify from. And I thought, well, duh, that was kind of dumb to not have that, but why don't we get one of those? So we have it now. And I think it should be a useful thing for our customers.
Yeah.
So that's mostly about that.
And then we also talked about briefly right before we got on about maybe sharing some of this code on GitHub, which is something you had already thought about. So that's a good idea. I still got some homework to do regarding, I guess, swapping, and I didn't get to do that this week, swapping the feedback form from using Google Forms to something that we have on our site. So especially since we're going to continue doing these live streams, we would like to give an opportunity for the audience to ask questions in advance, so that way we can answer in during the live stream. So that form should be done by the next live stream, and so I'll post it. I'll go ahead and post it so we can start using it for the next episode of the show. There was something I was thinking about that I completely forgot. There's one more thing, but I forgot. Well, I'll circle back if I remember.
Yeah, my dad always used to say, couldn't have been very important then, or you wouldn't have forgotten it.
Yeah, if I forgot it, right, it wasn't that important.
That's right. So did you hear about the guy at Google that got fired now for saying their thing was
sentient?
Sentient? Yeah.
Well, I remember that story a while back, but I would say 6 weeks ago or a month ago or something. No, probably maybe a little longer than that. So there's more updates on that?
Yeah. Well, at that point, they just suspended him. And
Hmm.
now they've gone ahead and fired him. Say he was misguided, and no, it's not really sentient. They sure don't want to admit it if it is.
Wow.
It's sort of like saying there's aliens around,
Wow.
But it's pretty interesting stuff that he would get fired for saying something. Some people would interpret that as kind of complimentary to say, "Hey, we created a sentient system," and he got fired for it. If
Yeah.
anybody says Robby's sentient, I won't fire you for it. It won't be true, but I won't fire you for it.
Yeah, that kind of begs to, it's like, okay, so if it wasn't true, why fire him?
Well, yeah, that's the other question, isn't it? Why are we so sensitive about that? Why didn't we laugh it off and say, "Oh yeah, no way"?
Yeah. Um, we're missing Michael again, and
Yeah,
I heard from him. He said that he is no longer working for the place where he used to work. I don't know if I should say.
yeah, probably not, but really, wow,
Yeah, he says that he's working somewhere else.
wow, that's interesting. Okay, hey, there's Bismarck. How you doing, Bismarck? Thanks for
Hey,
coming by.
Bismarck. Hey, thanks for coming by. I do have a couple of notes that I found in the news. Some of the ones that we didn't get to in the last live stream,
Oh,
and
good,
I found one more.
because I can't
I'm gonna
find mine, so I'm glad you do.
see if I can share it with
We're
the
doing
computer.
great, Bismarck.
It's fragile.
Uh-oh. Is it my bandwidth or your bandwidth that's looking sketchy?
I think it might be mine, but I don't think it's the bandwidth. I think it's the fact that that I'm trying to do too many things
It's
on
not liking
this
the
poor thing.
two-channel thing. Yeah. Oh, this is your computer, you think? You still on that old laptop?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I am.
Man, you're an employed computer programmer. You ought to go buy yourself a real
Yeah.
computer, dude.
Yeah. I think I need to my main desktop for this.
Yeah, your Alienware box. That one wouldn't choke.
Yeah, so I'm not even going to this. I'll let you. How about if I send you the link, Lee? I'll
Okay.
send it to you through that. Probably Teams. I'll send it to you on Teams. And
Okay.
for you guys on you have this all ready. It's kind of build a plane on or something.
On the runway. Yeah, you're kind of breaking up there. You're breaking up.
Yeah,
You're breaking
exactly.
up.
Okay.
Are you sending it? Here we go. Okay.
Yes, I'm sending out.
I think Francisco's CD has a problem. I think that's right. Your CD drive is just not cutting it anymore. Oh, that one, yeah, boy, I wanted to talk that. I had a couple in mind, and that's one of them. That as the week goes on, I think about things for the show. Yeah, the robot that broke the kid's finger. I loved it. It's the first
Yeah.
case that I've heard of. I mean, I'm sure you get them in industrial robots all the time, and you just don't hear about them. But this was a chess playing robot. That was playing robot with, was it a 10-year-old kid or something like that?
Yeah.
And it grabbed his hand and broke his finger.
Yeah, and there is a
I
video.
wonder
I
if
don't
it
know
was
if
because it was losing.
I don't know if you want to share it, Lee. If you want to play, and then we can maybe play a little clip of it.
Oh, I didn't know there was video of it. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
let's see if
there's
we can do that.
that's what I was trying to
Okay.
do, but I think I'm gonna retire. I keep saying that. I think this is the third episode that I say, yeah, my laptop is getting too old, but still
I
here.
think it's time, dude. I think we're ready. Your laptop is becoming a liability.
Yep.
Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yep. Let me share. Yeah, so here you
Okay.
can see, let's see.
Let's see if my band, after bad talk to yours, here we go.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a little choppy, but at least you can see the arm. I guess the arm was trying to grab a chess piece, and at the same time, I think the kid reached for it, and it just wouldn't let go.
It took those three guys to come and get him off it. I guess you guys couldn't hear the sound. I was hearing the sound of the video.
Yeah, no, we couldn't hear it,
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah,
Well,
it was. Well, yeah, I mean, it was a complete accident. I'm pretty sure.
oh, yeah, yeah. The kid was a trooper. Apparently, the kid, they put a cast on his finger and he came back and finished the game. So he was a trooper.
Wow. I'm pretty sure that he was more careful that second time.
Yeah. I'll bet he didn't play during the robot's turn anymore. That'll learn him. Uh-oh, look what we're doing here. We had the mirror thing going.
Yeah, so that was very interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
I love that one. I mean, it's easy for me to say I wasn't the one that got my finger broken, but
the other here we go. We have a question.
yeah, from
Um,
Bismarck. I think I would lose to him in an arm wrestling. Yeah, those servos can get pretty bloody strong. It's surprising how much power those things can put out.
yeah, and I don't know if Tiago is still in the chat. I don't know if he's still in the live stream, but there was a note that this was what 2 3 weeks ago when I found it, and it was pretty much saying that that the Apple App Store was a disservice to developers. Um, and I wanted to get your thoughts, you, Lee, and the chat as well. I know that when the App Store came out, it was a very good thing, and I think it was the first of its kind. And I don't know if anybody else had tried it before, but I saw it as a great opportunity for developers to put out their software, their applications, and get some type of revenue from it. Um, and I think it's fair for Apple to take a percentage of that. And that's, I guess, where it gets a little gray, right? How much of a percentage is it's okay, and that varies from one person to the next. But I think that for all the work that they do, making sure that the platform is safe, that the App Store only allows applications that are safe for users to download and install on your iPhone or iPads for that matter. I think obviously they do deserve some revenue from that, but I wanted to get your take on that, Lee. And if you guys in the chat want to chime in, that would be great as well.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear what other people think about it. I've never actually interacted with it. I've known people who did, and actually, it's kind of an even split between ones that hated it and ones that thought it was fine and a great thing. Um, one of the complaints I've heard about it is the degree of regulation to it is too high for people. But that gets back to one thing you almost never hear about is malware on an Apple.
Yeah.
I guess it does happen, but I think they do a pretty good job of keeping that stuff cleaned out of it. And that, like you say, that's a service that deserves some recognition and probably deserves some money. It really, like you said too, it comes down to how much.
How
How
much,
much is
right?
it worth, and what's fair, and everybody's going to have their own idea of that.
Yeah, and this whole thing started, and I don't know if you heard this story. It's been going on for a while, but it's I think there's a game maker called Epic, um,
Hmm.
and I think it's PUBG. I hope I'm not getting it wrong because I know that there are a few games out there that are very similar, for for us who don't pay much attention or play them. But so what happened is that they started selling, um, sort of credits, right? Whatever they use as currency in the game through the application. So kind of bypassing the Apple,
Mm.
buy it through here. And the reason why they did it was because they didn't want to pay 30% on, whatever revenue that was coming in. Well, Apple found out about it and kicked them off the App Store. And they went to court for it. And I still don't know if the case was decided or not, but that's kind of where everything started, right? For them, it was a huge company with millions of users, kids who actively play the game, and they lost that huge platform. Um,
It's 30%. I didn't
I
know it
think
was
it's I
30.
think it's 30%. And let
That
me,
seems a little excessive to me. I don't know.
yeah.
That's a 30 your income.
And I know
That's
that for smaller developers, and I forget what the threshold is, they lowered the rate. I think
I
it's
see.
I
I
want to
see.
say that it's somewhere like 10 to 15%. Um,
That seems more reasonable to me.
Yeah, but for big established, game developers, that's pretty much what the rate is. Um,
Yeah, 30% seems a little high to me.
yeah,
But I
and
guess that's
then
like we said, everybody's going to fall out wherever they fall out on that. So that's
yeah,
where I fall out.
and it's and not just. I mean, if you think about it, especially for these people that they the game is free to download and play, and the way they make revenue is by selling skins or different weapons,
Yeah.
uh, within the application. But on all the other platforms, they're able to do it through the app, but not on Apple or not on the App Store.
Yeah, well, that's a real common model in online gaming these days, especially the big MMOs. The game's free, but if you want to have fun in the game, then you got to spend a little money.
Hmm.
I used to play Black Desert Online, which was a great MMO, but it was that deal. It was free, but yeah, you're going to spend some money. For a while, I was spending like 50 to $100 a month. I'm ashamed to say, kind of.
Yeah, and for us, if you think about it, it's not costing them anything. Right? It's probably just flipping a field in a database or something,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. It's server time is all they're paying for. They're
Yeah,
paying hosting fees, and that's it,
yeah,
or their data center fees, or whatever you want to call it. That's
yeah,
software. We know about that. Software is free once you write it.
yeah. So Bismarck is saying that he's a Linux user. Oh, like Michael, he's a Linux user and he hates Apple.
Well, I'm not going to go there. I try to remain somewhat neutral, but I almost can't use a Mac. I don't know how. I never look at them. Although I don't have any real hate of them, I don't know. I've never took them seriously for some reason. Even though I know they're perfectly serious computers and will do whatever you want to do, probably better than most.
Yeah, same for me. Well, not anymore. I used to really not like Apple. I think I kind of changed my mind when they went away from the what's it, Power PC chips,
Oh,
when they
right.
started
Wow.
playing friendly with when they started doing the Intel chips is when I started like, okay, well, let me see what's what's here. And I used one. I think the first one I got, it was like geez, like 15 years ago or something like that. And I remember that I was running Windows, at the same time, using VirtualBox. And then when the Retina display MacBook Pros came out in 2013, is when I went to the Apple Store and actually picked one up. And that's the one that I still have to this day. Um, and I did the same thing. I kept running. Um, After that, I actually got Parallels, and I was running Windows on that. Um, I don't think I would be able to not have a Windows machine with the type of work that we do or that
Yeah,
I
you're not going
do.
to get a lot of C# jobs if you don't have a Windows machine,
Yeah,
huh?
although that's sort of changing because with .NET Core coming out and well now it's .NET. I keep
.NET
calling it
Standard. Yeah.
yeah .NET Standard, but now it's just .NET. Now there is no .NET framework from 5 forward. It's just .NET. So they dropped the core. Um, you can pretty much write a whole application on the Mac without or Linux
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
with Visual Studio Code. So it's getting there. It's not there yet. There's still a lot of things that are not there on the Mac if you're
Well,
gonna be on the .NET stack.
it's kind of interesting with that. I don't know. Some people might not even remember it, but the original purpose of .NET, or one of the big original statements of what .NET was about, was the CLR, Common Language Runtime. And the whole idea of that was that it would run with any operating system. And the whole point of it almost was that you would be able to do Unix or whatever you wanted to do. And it never really, yeah, okay, sort of, if you really want to. But now they're kind of trying to make that real, it seems like, much
Yeah,
more than it
I
ever
know.
used to be.
I think it's happening now. I think it really is happening.
Yeah.
Took about 20 years, but it
Yeah,
did happen.
exactly. Well, who does that? Oh, Microsoft.
Yeah,
That's who does that.
because I know that, like for example, some companies are using Kubernetes on Linux machines just because their licenses are cheaper, and they're running their whole .NET APIs on Linux machines.
Yeah.
So even SQL Server, they have a version that runs on Linux now as well.
Oh, that's interesting because it's not,
Yeah,
I don't think it's .NET yet. It may be now, but last I heard it was still doing COM.
yeah. So
I
I
don't
don't
know there
know.
was going to
So
translate.
maybe they did, but I know that one of the latest versions, and I was kind of surprised by that. And I was like, that was kind of like that thing where you could say, well, I don't need a Windows server, but you do for the database. But now it's like you don't. Oh, you still
Interesting.
have to
I'd
pay
heard
for the
that.
SQL Server license, but I
Yeah.
don't even know if people still do that. I don't know. Enterprises, I think, much rather go to the cloud and put it on Azure or somewhere else instead of
Well, we're
getting a
sure getting to that point. I
yeah.
think we're starting to there's kind of a critical mass kind of thing going on where the cloud is getting good enough and fast enough and cheap enough now that we're approaching the point where that's going to be how it is probably.
That and the other thing is that developers are more experienced, or there are more experienced developers, DevOps engineers. So there's a lot. I think that it's becoming, more and more the way to do it. It's weird to go find a job now, a serious engineering job, and not have either a team or someone who's doing DevOps for the whole company.
Yep.
Um, in where I work, we have a team of
Yeah.
DevOps engineers. So yeah, it's I think the cloud is the way to go.
Yeah, I think so. It's interesting because when it came around, I mean, when did they first start talking about it? Really, maybe 5, 10 years ago, somewhere in that range when you first started hearing about it. But it seems like it's finally really coming into its own, and I'm starting to, at first, but my attitude towards it was, yeah, come on, what are you talking? It's on the web, so what? I don't care. And it's on the web. That's not safe. It's not going to be secure, and yada yada yada. And now I'm pretty much converted. When we did that project on our last job where we converted everything to Azure from web APIs, that's where I started believing in the cloud. There were
Yeah.
so many things about it where you went, okay, well, that's pretty handy, isn't it? I like that. And I think that's going to continue to be the thing.
Yeah.
What's this from Bismarck here? Used Linux for many years, but when I started working with C# and Angular, I had to go back to Windows. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think that for a while there, when .NET Core came out, and that was kind of like the big what they were promoting, right. And now you didn't need a Windows machine for developing, that you could, get Visual Studio Code and run it on pretty much anything. But there were a lot of things missing. I remember that when I first tried to do it, um, Signal R was the thing that kept me from actually
Oh,
making the switch. They had Signal R for .NET Framework, but they hadn't ported it yet um, for .NET Core. Um, and I think it was on version 5 where they finally made it, or 3.1. I think it was 3.1 when they ported it.
that's classic Microsoft. You know, they tell you, yeah, you're going to be able to do this thing now in 5, 10, 20 years. You will. But
Yeah.
it's going to be at least 2 or 3 years and probably 4 or 5 and maybe more.
Yeah, and the one I'm not sure about is, and Bismarck, you might be able to answer this. I don't know if they ported what used to be called Mono and became Xamarin, and I think now they're calling it Maui, which is kind of like the cross-platform, for being able to write, for example, iOS applications and Android applications as well. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure that Maui is, but I don't know if they ever did Xamarin before they did Maui. I don't know if I would touch it. I don't know if I would consider it for a mobile project if I ever were to do one. It was, for me, it was weird writing a UI using C#. It was just, I can't get used to this.
Yeah, give me React Native.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'll do it.
Well, Flutter is coming up really fastly, so I don't know if you've heard of it, but
No, what's that? Flutter?
yeah,
I
it's
haven't heard of it.
it
I'm
came out
losing,
of
you know, since
Google.
I retired, I'm getting bad. I'm missing things here.
Yeah, it came out of Google. It uses Dart as the language, which is very similar to JavaScript, and it's getting pretty close to competing with React Native.
Wow.
Then they even made it so you could actually do web applications as well.
Similar to React, huh?
Yeah, so they kind of started the other way. They started on the cross-platform side of things on mobile, and now they're doing web.
Okay.
When in React started the other way, started with web and then went over to start um, doing mobile applications.
Interesting. Well, I don't like getting behind. I got to catch up. I've been spending too much
Y-
time on Robbie.
Yeah, that's the
Robbie land.
thing. That's one of the, I guess, when people ask me like, how often do you or how do you learn new things? I'm like, well, I don't really learn new things unless they have a purpose. Like if I need something in my day to day, like that's gonna solve a problem for me, or I happen to hear about something, and that's how I do it. Lee, I sent you another. I'm not even going to try to share on this thing.
Ah, you coward.
So if you want to pull that up and share your screen, maybe we can
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
about
you're
that.
gonna
And
have to
that was the
talk about it.
last.
I don't recognize this one.
That's the last note that I saw.
Let's see here. Cross-platform application using what you said. Oh, using Flutter, huh? Okay. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep, I see it.
Okay, here's your article.
Okay. So this was an interview that they had with the creator of Python,
Oh, wow.
and they were asking him about these other languages. They were asking about Go, Rust, and Julia. I've never heard of Julia.
Me neither. I've heard of the other two, but I haven't heard of Julia.
Yeah.
Boy, having written Python, that's how'd you like to have that on your resume? Yeah, I wrote Python.
Yeah. I think you can get a job, right?
Yeah, I think you can get a job. I think you can get a girlfriend. You know,
I think I like what he said about Rust. That I don't know if it's there. Yeah,
Says Rust sounds like a great language for certain things and improves on C++, and that it's much harder to bypass the checks in the compiler and solves the memory allocation problem in a near perfect way. Interesting.
and he says that Go is probably the most Pythonic language. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
So
getting behind on things.
yeah. So if you guys want to read the whole article, I'm going to put it in the chat so you guys can pick it up and read the whole thing later. I thought it was interesting. Oh, he even touched on TypeScript as well.
Yeah, yeah. That he likes static typing.
I think the little by little, I think the applications are going to start shifting towards TypeScript. I know that React did, Angular already did. Um,
React is. Do you have to use TypeScript in React
you
now,
don't
or
you don't
it just
have to
supports
on
it?
their what is it, like, kind of like their project creator. You can decide whether you want to use TypeScript or not.
Okay,
Same thing on Angular.
okay. Yeah, I'm
And
really split on that. My favorite part of JavaScript was that it wasn't tightly typed. I liked the freedom that you got
yeah,
from that.
yeah. And now that's kind of gone.
Yeah, well, why not just use Java or C Sharp if you're going to make it tightly typed? But that's just me. I'll stop whining.
And Michael, during the week, he messaged me and he sent me, "What do you think of this?" So I'm going to put it in the chat. Um, so there's a new language that just came out called Carbon, um,
Ah,
and it's supposed to be the successor for C++ or to C++.
interesting. In that it'll be used for low-level applications and stuff, or
Mm-hmm. And I was
can you
looking
be
at the
able to click
README
the link?
file, and so they were sort of comparing how JavaScript was succeeded by TypeScript, and then Java by Kotlin, and then they're saying that C++ it will be Carbon. So it's pretty new. I don't know
Interesting.
much about it. I think that it was released. It just it just happened, and it's open source, which is great.
Yeah, free is the right price. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that. I wonder if it does the whole kind of thing you can do at the multiple levels of pointers and stuff that you can do with C sharp. Which that stuff's largely just confusing to me, although I can see the power in it. But when you see 4 stars in front of something, you gotta wonder, really, did we have to do that? I don't know if you're familiar with the stars in C sharp or in C++.
Pointers,
The,
that's probably the thing that I
yeah.
hated the most, especially because it was one of the first courses that I took in junior college. I hated
Oh
it.
yeah, hard place to start. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
my first object-oriented language, and yeah, it was a hard place to start. When you get pointers to pointers to pointers to pointers,
Oh, geez.
okay, I kind of get that.
Yeah. Well, all right, Lee. I think we're about to hit the 1 hour mark. 50. We're about 50 minutes. We don't want to stretch this for too long.
Yeah, I'm getting
Um,
old. You don't want to wear me out too much.
so thanks everybody for joining. For you guys on Instagram and for you guys in the chat. It was great having you around. Thanks for coming by, Bismarck, Thiago, and Julian. Thanks for dropping by. And
Yeah,
we'll see you
appreciate it.
next week. So put it on your calendar.
We'll be
Same
here.
time, Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific time.
Yeah, thanks everyone for coming. Really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, everyone.